Good day, everyone. In our previous lecture, we understood the first step where we understand the requirements and understand why a drone is useful in fulfilling those requirements. In the current lecture, we will understand how these requirements now can be turned into specifications that are required for the drone to be designed. This will help us defining what kind of drone is required or what kind of drone will be useful in fulfilling the requirement. Let's dig deeper on how does requirement turn into a specification of a drone. Let's first understand what do we mean by specifications here. If we look at the slide, we can see the specifications such as size of the drone, endurance, payload, altitude, and battery pack requirement of the drone. These are the basic specifications that you will have to decide at the initial stage. However, the values of these specifications will get refined as you progress in the design stage. I always find it useful to keep in mind what kind of drone specifications will be useful because based on the requirement, because then it helps me figure out how I am going to carry out the mission as well as what kind of drone will be suitable for carrying out the mission. Let's look at this further in our next slide. Converting requirements into specification is a part of the design process. As discussed in the previous slide, we convert these requirements into specifications by conceptualizing the drone. In conceptualizing, what we do is decide on the kind of dimensions and flight time required by the drone. For example, for a warehouse application, if the requirement is barcode scanning, we want a compact drone which can quickly move between the warehouse aisles without creating much noise and scanning the barcode. At the same time, the drone has to have enough endurance where it can go and come back to the home station. Based on this, we can decide approximately what the size of the drone should be, along with the endurance as well as the payload. This helps in narrowing down a lot of the different specifications of the drone. So this is an initial conversion or initial understanding that we get on what kind of drone should be. These specifications, as I said, will further refine as we work on the drone. Having this in mind helps actually narrowing down the kind of drone so that at a later stage, the entire design does not nosedive, which could have been avoided if the design process was followed. Requirements are decomposed until they reach a level of detail. Those responsible for implementing the project can use to proceed. Again, these steps support clear communication between design management and design teams. Hence, it's first required to understand the requirements and convert them into specifications and get a fair idea of what kind of drone we are going to actually use. So it's a conceptualizing stage that I would say. The validation stage of the requirement actually happens once the design stage has been completed. This mainly comes after the design has completed. However, it is required to check whether the drone that is designed does satisfy the requirements. Once requirements are implemented, design teams validate each of these requirements. Since the requirements-based design process revolves around a systematic breakdown of requirements, the process itself generates a comprehensive list of items to be tested. After implementation, every requirement presents a method of satisfaction, whether it is an autopilot setting, manual section, piece of equipment, or a combination of methods. These implementations are then tested against the original requirement to ensure that the implementation works properly. During validation, drone manufacturers test both high-level and low-level requirements depending on the type. For example, the high-level requirement, the drone will have an endurance of 2 hours, can be validated by demonstrating that the UAV can maintain flight for this period of time. Low-level requirement falling beneath this high-level requirement could also be tested. However, unless more requirements exist, that depends upon the low-level requirements. Validating only the high-level requirements is more efficient. To summarize, we looked at what does a specification of a drone mean and how do we convert the requirements into specifications. Finally, once the design is made, how is the design validated for its requirements? so as to make sure the drone satisfies its process. In our next lecture, we will start by deciding the type of drone and how do we decide the type of drone. Thank you very much.